Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
This town needs an enema.
Hey everybody, Joe Dog here. Welcome to Stupid O'Clock. It's been a crazy day. Thank you, John and Dan, for having everything ready to go when it was showtime. Because I was not ready. Go ahead and bring John and Dan in here.
Yes. So you moved Stupid O'Clock to tomorrow at 3 a.m.
Well, no, it was Monday and on some of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was totally screwed up.
Did you get all that fixed already? Or
A lot of it, yeah.
okay, yeah, because I know it looks like we're broadcasting on everything. So,
Yeah, really.
apparently, we don't have the keys to the house. So,
And
I got the key to the mailbox, not the front door.
yeah. And Rob, thanks for tuning in. I do advise you to check your email. There's a pleasant surprise in your email, but don't tell anybody what it is.
it's not those weird pictures you like sending everybody, is it?
It's not a flaming bag of.
There's Rich. We caught
Rich.
Rich off guard.
Sorry, what was that?
We caught you off guard. You hadn't got set down comfortable yet.
The wife had just gotten home a little bit ago, so we watched Rings of Power. So I just looked at the clock and I'm like, crap, it's time.
Yeah. And Donna's here.
Hey, Donna.
Hey, Donna.
Speaking of Rings of Power, just out of curiosity, do
Is
you
it
like
any
the person
good?
that they've? Do you like the person they've got doing Galadriel?
She's not bad, but she's not Galadriel, but she wouldn't be the Galadriel we know yet anyway.
Yet. Yeah.
So
She's still about 2,000 years younger
young,
than the one we know.
yeah, and it's the same case with Elrond as well. You know, Elrond just doesn't seem Elrond, but he's not Elrond yet. You know.
Well, at this point, he's only been an elf for a couple hundred years. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Chris for a change. Hey.
Hello.
Are you working, Chris?
I know where Chris is at.
He's at the hotel, it looks like.
Yeah,
Which hotel?
our hotel, the
Oh, really?
HallowCon hotel.
Okay.
So, what room? Where are you at? Are you in the con suite or?
Yes, I'm in the big room.
Okay.
In the big room. Hey. Playing with the big toys.
Yeah, I'm gonna slide you over there, Dan, because I can duck out of the way of the QR code a little easier.
You know, I
Hey,
have
Don.
ceased to notice that thing.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Sarah.
And Rob now knows the little surprise I got for him.
Okay.
I'm keeping it quiet. Oh
That's got to be a challenge for you.
no, not really. Oh, Facebook just told me to be ready to start for a live video at
Oh.
11 o'clock.
Well, that's nice of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Apparently, Facebook's been having a lot of problems lately. They've got this new thing, and I don't know if you've noticed it, Joe, but every time I click on one of the stupid clock, if I click on the page or the group, it switches me from John Scarborough over to the stupid clock.
Oh God, yes.
Every damn it doesn't matter if I'm just reading something, checking something, or posting something. It automatically switches me over to admin mode.
Yes.
And I'm like, so I sent them I went to this report page and gave them a tersely worded description of the problem.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I'm telling them that considering they don't seem to care anything about their customers, that says I just wanted to post it so I could bruise the ego of the clown that came up with it. That's literally what I put in the description.
And Dan, that's what'll happen when you log in. When you just click on your Felian page, it changes your profile. You have to physically go back and reset to your profile.
Yep, that's actually pretty easy to do. After I finally found it, you click on the little picture icon up in the upper right corner, and then it'll give you the option of switching it back to you.
Yeah, try doing it on a damn mobile. It's 6 damn steps and a.
They just don't product test this crap enough before they dump it on us. That's just all there is to it.
No, it's somebody they just hired fresh out of damn college. Oh, this will be great.
Exactly.
Like damn Walmart rearranging the store every 6 months.
Oh, you think that's bad? You ought to go to Costco.
Well, Sam's too.
Sam's too.
I keep waiting for the day where I walk into the grocery side of Walmart and find it's out over by automotive.
Believe me, with my Walmart, it might as well be in the parking lot of Target. They've rearranged everything so much, it's like, is this in the same county?
Well, what's so funny is the grocery pickers now they pick them up at Hickson, they pick the groceries on the left side of the store, and then they take it to their little storage room on the right side of the store.
Yeah.
Really?
The pickup is by the pharmacy.
Oh, well, the one down here in Fort Oglethorpe, the pickup is just out. You know where the little cart rack thing is, where they put the carts into the building, which is right next to the grocery area?
Yeah.
That's where the pickup is. It's right there next to that. So, fairly streamlined.
Yeah, so your pickup's on the grocery side. Up here at Hickson, the pickup's by the pharmacy.
Oh, Lord.
All right, Chris is back. What happened, Chris? I think he's got bad. I think the hotel's got worse internet than Chris does.
Hey, I did pretty good.
No, I had to stop because I got notified of something that made things better.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. They got new fishing lines strung instead of the cotton cord.
No, we were about to have a huge monkey wrench thrown into our plans for October 16th, but that crisis has been averted.
Hey.
All right. And Chris has already seen how far ahead I am on some stuff for HallowCon.
You were worried last night that you were so far ahead you'd screw stuff up, and lo and behold,
I'm
this
even
show
further.
was scheduled for Monday at 3 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah, you're tired, Joe.
yeah,
You need a really good night's sleep with nobody bugging you about any damn thing.
yeah. That ain't gonna happen.
I'm running on caffeine myself.
Uh, shit, I forgot
Hmm.
where I was going now.
To hell if you don't change your ways.
Yeah.
No, changing his ways is not going to help.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember what it was. Sadly, I hate to say, Three Ravings Publishing will not be at HallowCon this year.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
They've got a prior commitment.
Okay, that's better than I thought.
It's got
Yeah.
hamburger. It deals with hamburgers and hot dogs in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
I
I believe
told him,
there's a chili cook-off as well involved.
yeah, yeah, there's a chili cook-off involved too. Well, I told him, I said, the only thing that disappoints me that you're not going to be here is now I can't shame Dan into doing a panel.
You want me to do a panel? You've
If you
never
want,
mentioned you
if
never mentioned it. I thought I was going to be kind of chained to the dealer's table.
well, if he was there, I mean, it would be real easy. Just you're part of Three Ravens Publishing, and I would just throw you in there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a bunch of programming that I don't have now.
Then I thought of a great idea that would be lots of fun. Would be throwing William J. Roberts and Brian K. Morrison a panel together and watching the fun.
Man, that'd be like tying two cats' tails together and throwing them over a clothesline.
That would be like putting John Ringo and Eric Flint on the same panel and trying to see which one can talk faster.
I like
Both
it
of them
too.
are tremendously great storytellers. Don't
Oh
get
yeah,
me wrong. I'm not complaining about either one. I love them both. But good lord,
but just think
trying to
about the
talk over.
energy in that room and the fun.
Hey,
Oh,
Carl.
hey, Carl.
Yeah. Well, guys,
Mm,
I'll be right back. I have been so busy trying to get all the preregs into the database, trying to correct the mistakes I made scheduling the shows. I look down at the clock and says, "Well, I got a few more minutes." Oh God, it's 11:50. It's 10:59.
that is why you have backups.
Yeah, I actually popped in and said, "Guys, start the show. I'll be ready when it's time."
and what did I tell you?
We got it.
Mhm.
We got it.
Yep.
Um,
John had one set of buttons. I had the other set.
Well, Carl, I appreciate you taking a nap and being here.
Yeah. If I take a nap, nobody will see me till in the morning.
oh,
All right, I'll be right back, guys. I just got to
Yeah.
go get me a couple bottles of water.
Would you object if I do the thing about me changing back to shift work? The little scroll.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to ask permission.
When the hell do you need to ask permission for me to do anything?
really? You're a grown man. Do what you want to.
You can do
What-
You got
whatever.
ops.
You got ops.
Yeah,
And you got,
most
and
of-
you got a
most
show
of
after
ops.
this one.
Yeah.
You're entitled.
Hey,
Man,
not my show, not my channel. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. And yes, Joe Dog should know by now. If I am needed for a panel, as long as it's not on something I am totally unfamiliar with, like thread count of medieval costumes or something, I'll be glad to step away from. And HallowCon is the only place I have done vending. So uh, usually at LibertyCon, at Anacrocon, I'm on panels. That's what I expect. But I have not been needed on panels at HallowCon, so I haven't asked to do any because I'm
Well, you've
shy.
only been to one before now,
Yeah, I know. Uh, but
despite us trying to talk you into it.
knowing Joe Dog, now he did try and talk me into doing part of the opening stuff with the gambler last year, and I'm going, dude, you want to put me in front of an audience acting? I can do uh, panels. I can sell books. Uh, Not sure I can keep from tripping over myself trying to walk to a chair if I'm on display. Uh, Sarah Heiser, do panels require a lot of preparation? Depends on the panel. Some of them are on topics that the people on the panel know so well they can just freewheel it, just right off the cuff. Some of them, like Stephanie's science panels, she had to do the research. I mean, now she's got everything done. She just can go on and boom, it's there. If it's something that you, the panelists have to do, uh, sort of not a presentation, but uh, if it's not talking about their work, it's talking about something that you actually need to make sure that you've double checked all your facts and everything. It does kind of take some preparation, and the first panel on something uh, does sometimes require a lot of preparation. But the second panel on the same subject, you've got a lot of the groundwork done. You just have to update it.
God help you if somebody's panel involves PowerPoint presentation.
I
PowerPoint is the
It also
devil.
depends on the subject expert they are in it.
hmm And Rich, what was that about PowerPoint? The thing I hate a lot.
PowerPoint is the devil. The thing about PowerPoint is when done well, PowerPoint is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I have literally attended thousands of PowerPoints in my life. I'm in IT. I have to attend a lot of PowerPoints. Maybe 100 or so over the course of my entire lifetime have been done well. That's several thousands that have been done very poorly because people are like, oh, hey, this should be easy. Let's use, a dissolve transfer for the 19th time in a row for the 19th consecutive slide in a row. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
I was in the Army when they discovered PowerPoint.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Of course, now one of the funnest things I've ever done with a PowerPoint presentation. My mom got me a Sharper Image TV remote watch, digital watch, with a TV remote built into it.
I can understand the carnage that was about to happen.
She got me this for Christmas, and of course,
same frequency as their clicker.
Right after right after New Year's, first of the year, it's when the military has all their safety and sexual harassment and don't drive drunk, don't do drugs, all these PowerPoint presentations you got to sit through hours and hours and hours of. So I just happened to take this watch with me just to show it off, and still had the little instruction manual with it with all the codes. So we're in there sitting in the PowerPoint presentation. I look over and it's a Toshiba projector. Toshiba. Deep. Sure enough, I aim it at the projector, push the button, projector turns off. Turn it back on. Nobody really noticed because the PowerPoint presentation hadn't started yet. So they came in and the kid was giving his PowerPoint presentation. I shut off the projector. So he runs over, turns it back on, starts giving his projector or his speech again. I went, turned it off again. I kept telling him, I think the projector's overheating.
Yeah. There was a time when the video monitor in the break room at work was set to either CNN or Fox News, the 24-hour version. And I so desperately wanted one of those remotes to change it to Sesame Street or something on PBS, which was actually intelligent rather than what we were watching. I would have done it. I really would have done it if I had the correct remote to do it with, but I probably would have gotten in so much trouble if anybody had noticed.
Yeah. And to answer Rob Brown's question, yes, sir, it will be. There is about a good 44 hours of public domain movies and cartoons on Saturday morning.
Hmm.
Oh, God, horrible public domain movies.
You've been diving into my 10 terabyte drive again?
I said public domain, not pirated.
That doesn't mean they're not public domain just because I got them from a pirate.
Chris?
Yeah, Chris just messaged me and says, "Dear God, the internet at the hotel's worse than at his house."
That's because they don't have an antenna in the room he's in. He's in a big concrete room.
Mm-hmm.
If you take one step out into the lobby, he'd be fine. Did you hear that, Chris?
This is not going to be a problem when we get there, is it?
No, I'm going to solve
Only
that problem tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Are you going to put a booster in the big concrete room?
I can't say what I'm going to be doing, but you definitely will need to read the program book.
So that's what that satellite dish is for.
Joe bought a Starlink dish. That's what he's going to have. Starlink internet in the console area.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yep, and trouble is you'd have to really, really try very hard to keep John from using it for a barbecue grill.
No, I'd usually just put cats in it.
Yeah, cats would stay. Hot dogs won't.
Now that is a problem with the Starlink dish. Cats have found out because they've got a built-in heater in them. When it senses the temperature, and when the temperature gets below freezing, the heater turns on to melt any ice.
Mm-hmm.
The cats have discovered this.
Hold on just a second here, Joe.
What you found? You got a picture?
I have a picture. Yeah, you know me and my internet kung fu. Let's see here. There's the one.
My microphone still working. I just had to change the audio settings because everything was blasting my eardrums out.
Oh.
Well, no. Joe Dog, talk again.
Hello?
Yeah, that's much quieter. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been having
What, you had your volume too loud?
No, it was on the different setting where my volume controls didn't work.
Ah.
There's like 6 different settings for these headphones, and one of them has a volume control.
Joe was talking about the heater in the dish, and you notice all the snow. So that explains why those cats are sitting up there right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it warms up to like 80 degrees.
Oh Lord, an actual civilized temperature.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to melt snow and ice.
Yep. I ran into a problem last week that I did not ever think that I would run into, but the climate control in my lab has been preset by my supervisor. And during the last week, it went from air conditioning to heater. And all of a sudden, the humidity is exactly where he's been trying to get it for the last 8 months. And the temperature starts off at like 72 degrees at 7 o'clock in the morning and goes up to about 76 by 3 o'clock when I go take my last break of the day. And my coworkers who have been having to share my laboratory because there have been some testing equipment moved in there for the humidity control have been going, oh, can you turn the air conditioning back on? And I go, you got to talk to the supervisor, man. I don't have the code for that thermostat. And besides, with that machine in the way, I can't read it to reset it anyway. And the machine weighs,
Couple tons.
well, about 150 pounds. I'm not moving it. Not by myself.
Government buildings have those thermostats with the boxes over them to lock them out. Well, they one-upped it. They now have internet programmable thermostats so that somebody in Washington gets to tell you what temperature your room's going to be at.
I have said time and time again, the thermostat for the break room, the main break room that everybody has to go to, it should be in the plant manager's office inside a gun safe so that nobody can change it except him. Because the maintenance men walk in there, it's 70 degrees. They set it for about 35. I mean, good Lord. Meat lockers are warmer than this.
That room I was telling you about where we had the briefings and such like that, big classroom. We call it the classroom. With tables and chairs, stuff like that. Well, it just so happens to be on the sunny side of the building. And the air conditioner was set unreasonably high. We walk in, it's like 90 degrees in this damn room. Just ridiculously hot. Oh, and I'm drinking a cup of coffee, and I walk in. It's like walking into an oven. You know, it's like everybody's like, they got the door propped open, trying to get some air in there, and the sun's coming in the door. You know, so it's middle of July. So I said, hang on a minute. So I got to close the door, put my hat on top of that little box with the thermostat. Of course, it's the new one that we can't control it. It's controlled by somebody in Nashville or something. I put my hat on top of a coffee cup underneath it. Heated up that thermostat to about 90 degrees. It kicked on. That air conditioner stayed on for the rest of the briefing.
Practical engineering. It should be an allowable degree. Seriously. When you know your ass from a hole in the ground, you ought to be allowed to mess with stuff. If you
Alternative
don't,
engineering. Because cheating is an ugly word.
Mm-hmm. Carl, a pipe tool fits perfectly through the holes of the thermostat control. The pipe tools at work weigh about 17 pounds, and it's hard to get them to go down to a quarter of an inch because they're usually, these are monkey wrenches, and it takes two hands to tote them around, much less use them. Yeah. Well,
back when it was just a plastic box, this was how I used to adjust the thermostat at National Guard.
Mm-hmm. Now they're digital controls, and the ones that no one can mess with don't have a display. They're just a blank white screen.
Oh yeah.
With an up and down arrow
available
on it.
In every office.
Yeah.
Its original shape.
Yes. And couldn't MacGyver dismantle a nuclear submarine with one of those?
Yep.
This is why the National Guard isn't allowed to have paper clips.
Do you know what you can do with those things? That's an
Put your
offensive
eye out,
weapon.
kid.
Yeah, really. That's an offensive weapon in the right hands.
Animal balloons, the aerosol compressed air are two ways that I've found to defeat certain. Well, okay, I didn't find them. Someone else showed a video on him, and I'm like, oh, hey, that works. Found out about, I should say, to defeat the IR sensors that sense movement that will go ahead and unlock doors for you so you can just push your way out of them. And the guy that I learned that from defeated one in a bank lobby with a glass of scotch. For what he did, he just was at a bar across the street. He's looking in the vestibule where the ATM is. He's like, 1 second, takes a big gulp of the scotch, doesn't drink it down, just holds it in his mouth, puts his drink down in the bar, walks across the street. There's a gap like that far or that big between the doors, and just put his lips right up against it and just blew the scotch into it. The aerosolized mist triggered the motion sensor, so he was able to open up and just walk into where the ATM was.
Breaking and entering.
But the thing
Didn't
is,
break anything.
that's his day job, is penetration testing, physical penetration testing of sites.
This is not the green room. This is not the green room.
All right.
Green room.
Let's change the subject here. I just found this on the news a while ago, and it's interesting because I've been predicting this was going to happen for quite some time. Bruce Willis is allowing himself to be deep faked so his digital twin can continue to act after his aphasia diagnosis. Apparently, he thinks it's a great opportunity. And he signed on to work with the U.S. firm Deep Cake. I hope that's spelled. The actor's likeness appeared in European phone advertisements. That's interesting.
Evidently, he's never seen Running Man to know how bad an idea that is.
I will be back. Only in reruns.
Mm-hmm.
That movie, literally, they were talking about these movies that they were science fiction when they were made.
For about 5 minutes, yeah.
And then eventually, like one of the ones was Demolition Man.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were talking about what society would look like in, 30, 40 years. And they damn near nailed it.
Yeah, the only drawback is, well, not exactly a drawback. There are still restaurants who have not turned into a Taco Bell, so...
Want to bet?
Well, hey, we're in the year of Soylent Green.
And they sell it in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And don't know what it actually was in the movie. And otherwise, they would have picked a better name for it.
It's like the joke that Gallagher used to tell about Wang computers. Didn't anybody ever tell the Japanese what Wang means in English? He says, I love watching the stock market. Wang is up, Wang is down, Wang.
Oh, I'm just sort of watching the time, guys, because in 25 minutes, the prices at HallowCon change from a pre-reg rate of $35 to $65.
Oh, no. A $30 increase in exactly 26 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, we've been warning them all week.
All year.
Yeah.
And for those of you who want to know how to get your $35 pre-registration, let me see. I got to point this way. There we go. It's that thing right there. You shoot your phone at it, and it'll do all sorts of fun stuff.
It'll give you a link to take you to the website. Click on badges, and see that for the past couple of years, I've been a little lazy and say October 1st, and it's usually October 3rd before I change it. Maybe the 4th, not this year. I'm going to have to start training them again because I'd have people take advantage of that. Donna, it's not the green room.
Yeah,
It's not the green room. Dan, keep me in check. I'm tired and I'm not thinking straight.
So to go back to your comment about Soylent Green.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite books of all time is The Happy Mutant Handbook. It's a fun book that came out right about the time I was a senior in high school, give or take a couple years, that talked about all sorts of fun mischief, like building hacking. Just, where's this door go? And if it's unlocked, just keep following until security escorts you out. But one of the things that they had in there is they had a several-page spread of basically things you could turn into stickers with their express permission to go ahead and print these out and turn them into stickers. So one of the stickers they had was Soylent Green, now with more girls.
Oh, dear. I shouldn't have laughed at that, but...
All sorts of fun with that. And all sorts of paranoia I managed to induce when I was still working in the factory. I would make up little stickers that were little happy faces, and I would just put them in random places all around the plant. I worked midnights, so management was never there to see me do it. So they'd start taking them down, and I'd start putting them right back up. And they're just like, how the hell, where are they coming from?
Oh, you remember when Walmart used to use the happy face sticker?
Oh, yeah.
They got sued. Copyright infringement. The happy face is a copyright. It's a copyrighted image.
Well, that as weird as that may sound, yeah, there's a good reason for that. Well, there's a reason for that. I'm not going to qualify it with good or bad, but it can be misused as anything can be. Talk to anybody that's ever had a length of aluminum ductwork pointed at them with a bottle rocket inside.
I've been on both ends of that.
Yeah. Kind of figured.
Sometimes at the exact same time.
Now, I have had a PVC pipe with two elbows that, the pipe went like this, down and then out away from me, so you could hold it and aim it. They're deadly accurate with, the half-inch PVC pipe.
Now, just imagine what you could do if it was just a T-junction with the handle so that you could load it from the back and it had another little piece like a scope on the top at eye level with maybe some fishing line strung up as crosshairs.
Now,
Slide it, push it, end cap it, let it go.
Hey, a friend of mine had a car with the PVC pipe running out the back of it, and had the little cap to put over. I have lit bottle rocket, stuck a bottle rocket in, lit the fuse, shoved it, capped it, and chopped the car behind it.
State Patrol must just love you.
Yeah, we did things that today would back then it'd get you good finger shaking. Today it'd get you put in prison.
Yep. 5 to 15 years. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Chris. One guy I used to be in the garage band with would drive to South Carolina when fireworks were illegal in Georgia and buy about $300 worth of firecrackers and bottle rockets and M80s and things like that, and come back with just a handful because he'd been lighting the fuses and throwing them out the window in traffic on the superhighway. Got pulled over once. The cop said, "Yeah, it's funny, but if you do it again, I'm going to have to lock you up."
Now, I used to. Of course, they've changed the fuses on bottle rockets now. Remember when they used to have sort of like the paper fuses?
Mm-hmm.
Before they went to the little green safety fuses?
Mm-hmm.
I learned if you would take the pack of 12, if you spread it, worked all the fuses together, twisted them, light it, and throw it like one of the German grenades, it would go for a certain distance. And then the first one would light, sending it in that direction. Then they would all light. First one would explode, and then you've got a cluster bomb.
A bomb is not the word that I would use cluster with in this context.
Sadly, John, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Scott Mitchell.
Yep.
I lobbed one into the pocket of his BDUs with all his bottle rockets in
And
there.
he had the better part of a gross of bottle rockets stuffed inside of his BDU pocket, on the thigh pocket.
Oh, you were there?
Dude, I helped put him out.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. You got to remember, I was a ninja back then. Nobody saw me.
yeah. Well, you remember when I was the one doing that shit.
And what's funny is it happened twice.
Yeah.
So when we were in high school, we didn't have complete vehicles all the time because, countryside of Northwest Indiana, so there were a couple of us that had areas where we actually had to make sure that our feet were on either side of the rusted hole so that our feet weren't going to the floorboards trying to be Fred Flintstone kind of a deal. Around the 4th of July, one of our favorite things to do was to go ahead and light the jumping jacks and drop them through the open floorboard. All of a sudden, the vehicles behind us just see these cluster of sparks just start firing everywhere. Surprised we weren't arrested.
Yeah, John, really today, if kids did stuff we did back in high school and got laughed at, would go to prison. We were stupid.
I was on the rifle team in high school. We shot rifles at high school.
Yeah.
People used to show up with guns in their gun rack and their pickup truck. I mean, people used to ride to school in the back of the pickup truck.
We used to see how many people we could load in the back of the pickup truck.
Yeah, the idea was to try and get the fenders to scrape the tires.
And another thing was to try to get enough people far enough on the back that the front wheels would barely touch. And like Carl says, it's hooligan night on SOC.
My dad, his favorite car to have once he started having kids was a Ford Country Squire station wagon.
Oh yeah, I miss those.
Which was basically, it was a Ford LTD. Big engine, it had had bells and whistles back when bells and whistles weren't exactly a thing. I can remember it was one of the first cars. Ford was one of the first ones that started putting that little push button door lock on their cars. I remember when he got those. I remember his turn signals had side mounted headlights. They weren't as big as the regular headlights out front, but it was this little headlight on either front fender of the car. And when you flip the turn signal to turn,
it lit up that
side light off on that side of the car so you could see what you were turning into before you turned into it.
Yeah, I remember those.
Now, I thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, he flipped it on, the whole side of the road would light up.
Yeah, Sarah asked for what was the record for the pickup. I think 23.
Do you know? Yeah, really. Do you know how much weight you have to put on the back of a pickup truck in order to get the front wheels to not be in full contact with the ground? We're talking a ton, or maybe 3/4 of a ton of weight on a 1/4 ton pickup truck.
Scott Mitchell had a little Isuzu Pup pickup, which was a tiny pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
And I can't remember, one of our friends had a Ford Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everybody else had Ford F-150s, and somebody had an old GMC. And to give you an example of how old this GMC pickup was, he would get in there to work on the engine, change spark plug, something like that, and it would start raining, and he'd just pull the hood closed on top of him and keep working, sitting in on the fender well.
You could get a party of 5 working on an engine in an old GMC. There was that much room in there, especially if it was a straight 6 instead of a V8.
And Rob says, or 6 railroad logs. Well, Dan, also you could drop about 8 football players in the back of the pickup truck and get it going too.
My dad and I would, for extra spending money in the wintertime, saw firewood for what amounted to university professors and people that actually had common sense, 2 different groups, and deliver it to them. And you had to fill the bed of a full-size GMC pickup just about level with the roof of the cab.
Oh yeah,
to get the front wheels to be a little bit light on the shocks. Now, granted, it was a 1967 GMC pickup truck and was built to be a farm truck, but in 1967 everything was. But it was when you could see the leaf springs on the rear wheels go
bend the other way
straight. They wouldn't bend the other way, but they would go at least straight. And then, as John said, you start getting the tire tread rubbing against the underside of the wheel wells, and you'd be going down the road like this, and Dad was going, "Damn, this is just like the boat. I can just barely steer it."
Now, Ace Bonnie was saying, my friend's van's radio, you could pull the radio out of the dash and the radio would still work. I was driving and my friend was riding, and the radio went out in my Toyota Corolla as we were headed to Gatlinburg. So we pulled over one of the little truck stops on 75, and he changed the radio while we were driving down the road.
Yeah. What's really neat is back when FM was not a thing yet, and everything came with AM radios. If you were out someplace where the signal was weak, and the vehicle was parked, and you had one of the external spike antennas instead of the built into the windshield sort of thing,
Yeah, the stupidest thing GM ever did.
you could actually stand outside the vehicle and use your body's electrical field to augment the antenna. So you could not, you wouldn't have to touch the physical antenna, but just kind of cup it in your hand and put your other hand up like you were a living rabbit ears for a TV set, and pick up stations that you could not pick up without doing that. So,
Chris has got a question for you, Dan.
okay. Chris, starting next Thursday, every other week at the very least, I will be on night shift. And I'll be at work instead of able to do the show. Now, some of those weeks, I'm still going to have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, whether it is Friday morning or Sunday morning. So I'm afraid until I get back on my DTO, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Last Man Standing is going to be on hiatus. I will try my best to be on Thursday nights when I'm on day shift, but I may have to duck out like midnight on Thursdays, and no chance of showing up at all except for, stupid o'clock on Saturdays. Last Man Standing is not going to be happening on a regular basis until they put me back on DTO.
And that's at least what, Thanksgiving?
I'm thinking Thanksgiving is about the longest they can drag it out legally. But, if we get people that start training on the job and go, I'm not pulling my finger out. I'm not putting my phone down to do this. Then I'm going to have to start training somebody else. It depends on the aptitude and attitude of whoever gets awarded that job that I have to train. I went through all of this last year between Thanksgiving and Christmas, remember? They put me on swing shift and I had to train people. Well, now those people that I trained are going to other jobs, and those jobs have to be filled, and I'm going to train more people. It's not a difficult job, but you do actually have to put the phone down and do the job, and then it involves an awful lot of walking instead of sitting in a chair playing on your cell phone. So, hence the difficulty of getting a qualified candidate from today's youth.
Yeah.
Let's face it, this is not the good old days when people were going, hey, I need money, just let me do something. No, this is my side job. My real job is my Twitter account.
I saw something.
I'm an influencer.
Yes.
I saw something today that just terrified me. A 19-year-old kid did not know how to write a check.
I know 30-year-old people that don't know how to write a check.
Heck, I couldn't tell you the last time I wrote a check. Well, no, I can't remember the last time I wrote a check because it's a veterinarian.
Last time I wrote a check is when we had Lindsay's car repaired, and the guy at the garage goes, "I'm sorry, I don't have a card reader. I don't believe in those things." And I go, "Hey, great, I've got a checkbook. Is that all right?" He goes, "Yep." And the dude knows his stuff. He is an excellent auto mechanic. He just is of my father's generation.
Yep.
So he don't like the electronic stuff. I mean, transistor radio he can put up with, but anything beyond that, I don't think they even own a computer, and I doubt seriously he has a cell phone, but his wife does.
Yeah, Chris said he wrote one Friday morning. I should have checks for HallowCon, but I don't. It's easier to throw that damn card out.
Really. The nice thing about cards is you get a warning that it won't cover it instead of a bounce notice and a fee. Yeah, they go, "Oh, whoa, I got to transfer some from the savings account." No, and that's just a quick trip to a ATM if you're not at home online.
Yeah, it's if the money ain't there and you throw the card, guess what? Yep, you ain't taking it.
Yep, it's declined. I kind of like that, but then the last 7 years or so, I've been keeping such a close watch on my bank account, and I've got the Excel spreadsheet to balance everything. As long as I don't forget to write something into the spreadsheet, I know within 50 cents or thereabouts how much is actually in the bank at any given time. And the 50 cents is an error on my part where I might have fat-fingered typing stuff in.
Well, I always overestimate. If something's like $49.95, I write 50.
Yeah, my mom does that, and she still balances her checkbook on paper. She does not use a computer for any of that. We tried to get her set up with email and everything else, and she would either not turn the computer on for 6 months at a time, or could not remember what her password was to get back into it, and didn't know that you could have the browser set to record your password so that you could get back into it just by clicking.
Yeah.
And that's fair. That's fair. I can understand how people, especially people that grew up during the Great Depression, would be kind of leery of anything having to do with putting personal information in a computer. And she was a computer operator at a bank. So
my mother was the most technophobic person ever. Back in the days of pagers, my mom couldn't page my father because my dad was a on-call technician for the HVAC company he worked for, so he carried a pager. Mom couldn't page dad. When mom needed to page dad, she would call me wherever the hell I was at. "Richie, page your dad." When I finally got a pager, I had to make sure I had a voicemail thing on my pager so that you could just leave a voicemail. And it was almost always, "Richie, page your dad." Although usually it started off with, Richie, pick up the damn phone." There's no speaker, Mom. I'm not sitting here screening your call during ethics class. I swear to you. So everywhere I went, I had to make sure that I carried about $5 worth of change, so that if I got a page and it was a voicemail page, figured it was probably my mom, but just make sure that it was indeed page dad to call the house, because every once in a while I'd be like, pick this up, So yeah, the reason I became such a good technician for help desk and helping people in IT and stuff like that is because of my mom. Because my mom had such a fear and such ignorance, and I'm not saying ignorance is a bad thing. Ignorance is lack of understanding, lack of knowledge. Stupidity is the refusal to learn something. But when mom gets something wrong, I can't just go, that's stupid. Why can't you? Nope, no, man. My mom might have been 5'1" and 105 pounds, soaking wet with rocks in her pockets, but at my biggest, 6'4" and over 500 pounds, I was still terrified of this tiny little woman.
Yes.
Now,
Richie, you might get a kick out of this. When my mom was a computer operator in the bank, the computer used punch cards. Mm-hmm.
It was an analog computer.
It used maybe no, it wasn't even 4 megabytes of RAM. It was lower than kilobytes maybe, and the damn thing it was a huge disk that was the keyboard, and then a huger disk that was the actual CPU, and a card
heaven
sorter.
forbid you trip with those.
Oh Lord, cables between the two. I mean, I've seen sewer lines that were smaller in diameter. And it was just it was fun to watch her and her coworkers take a huge stack of punch cards and feed them into the machine so that they could change from interest to bills for the savings and loan company.
And God forbid if one of them got out of order.
Oh, it wouldn't matter if it was out of order. God forbid if one of them got folded,
turned,
wrinkled, torn. Somebody could have seriously ruined the entire bank by maliciously, if you could find a square hole puncher, putting in a couple of extra square holes for the damn thing to read. That would have been that. Okay, national security was less important than getting these bank accounts perfect. I don't know how people cope with it when computers were brand new and took up an entire room, but good Lord, I got a real insight into this because I was having to. I'd go and have dental work done, and then walk to the bank because I was supposed to stay out of school the whole day. And this was before the era of the latchkey kid, which I was one of the first of. But
I'll be
years
right back.
later.
I'll be right back.
Had to hang out in the bank with mom the entire day after I had a tooth filled or whatever. I learned an awful lot about how people work together in a general sense. Just like this is an office, this guy does this and he's really important. This lady does this. She's his secretary. She's more important than he is, but they're not going to acknowledge that. Without her, everything goes to pieces. Without him, everything happens as normal. He just doesn't personally answer his phone. Wow. I haven't thought about life in the 60s in a long time.
Me neither. I was born in
That's,
'66.
oh, well, yeah, that probably explains it. Um, oh, Lord. I hate it sometimes when I go down memory lane and it's
And they ain't
stuff
fixed
that
the
is,
potholes yet.
yeah, well, they never will. As soon as you can fix them, somebody paves another highway over to the left and everybody shifts, but I'm still stuck on the dirt road. Um,
My memory lane is Route 66.
mm,
Yes.
at least that's still in business.
Mine's more of a cul-de-sac.
So, so
uh,
Fire, Firefly, the rocket company,
mm,
they had a rocket that aborted on takeoff the other day. They actually second attempt they got it up, and it actually
mm.
did what it's supposed to, put the little satellites in orbit. So we have one more player in the rocket game.
Hey, more the merrier. The more competition there is, the more likely somebody's going to get it right because they want to make money. And if you don't care about making money, your rocket company is not going to go very far.
And at least for a short period of time, it will drive prices down once they dial everything in, because everyone's
Yeah.
going to be trying to undercut everyone else.
Hmm. But the important thing is everybody's got to learn how to dial it in. That's going to
Yeah,
be good for the whole world. Sooner or later, it's going to become as ordinary as a McDonald's drive-through.
Well, if they ever get those, why NASA went away from it, I'll never know. But there was a theory, or I don't know, theory, a proposal for a replacement for the space shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lifting body aircraft, and it used aerospike engines, and it could actually take off from a runway, get into orbit, do what it needed to do, and come back in. And I don't know what happened to it. I wish Stephanie were here. I don't know if she
I
knows.
will, I will hazard a guess, and Stephanie is quite free to shoot me down in comments with when she watches the show. I will hazard a guess it is due to the military industrial complex. Somebody wanted a contract and didn't get it, so they made sure that nobody else could either. You can tell I'm a natural born cynic. I have very little faith in some kind of intrinsic goodness of the portion of mankind who is driven by the profit motive and nothing else. Things there, there's so many companies that would be so vastly improved if they just stop listening to their accountants and start listening to their customers and do quality stuff.
The Lockheed Martin X-33 was the vehicle that I was referring to.
Okay.
It was a technology demonstrator, but they were going to make a bigger version of it once they got everything. Yeah.
X-33, what was that?
It's hang on a minute, I'll throw the photo up.
Got to see what it looks like. It doesn't. If my memory serves me, it's not a single stage to orbit proposal.
Oh, well, go ahead, Jim.
Okay, space plane. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one, the X-33, was not. It was suborbital, but it was a technology demonstrator. I think it was half the size of the one that was going to replace the space shuttle. But I believe they actually built one I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
NASA took over the project and it died a quick, miserable death.
Hmm. Now, there was at one time about 3 different companies working on something much smaller than what SpaceX is doing, but it was a single stage to orbit vertical takeoff.
Well, that's what
And
that thing was. I'm not sure what the final version was going to be called
Yeah,
or anything like that.
the problem with single stage to orbit is it takes so much to get it into orbit that it can't carry any payload.
yeah, if you got enough fuel to get there, you can't do much else with it. Yep.
You barely have enough fuel to deorbit,
Yeah.
and you can't
Um,
take nothing with you.
yep. But there were some people that were working on that, at least 3 different companies, 3 different proposals, I remember. And they were making progress, but not anything like we would recognize as progress nowadays compared to the companies that are doing, well, SpaceX doing the big stainless steel water tank to orbit. But
You know, what's kind of funny is that X-33, the launch facility, they completed the launch facility for it at Edwards Air Force Base. So here we are talking about how this thing got canceled.
Mhm.
What you want to bet it didn't get canceled? It was built by Lockheed Martin, the Skunk Works people.
Mhm. And what's the one that the military has in orbit with no people aboard for months and months and months at a time?
X-37B,
Refinement of design. Anyone?
and it can launch. Anybody can launch it. SpaceX has launched it. ULA's launched it. Shit, what's the other one? Well, shit, ULA bought them out. Never mind.
Mm.
Yeah, SpaceX has only launched it once, and they're going, no, y'all ain't flying it again. Too
Didn't
many
want.
people. Too many people watch where it launched and watch which direction it launched and which direction the uh, booster came back from.
It's hard to launch something secret when you're that open.
Yeah,
Well, they doesn't SpaceX has a secure launch facility at Edwards, don't they?
yeah,
Yeah, that's,
Good night, Carl.
but they don't fly it in polar orbit. It's west west to east orbits.
Oh yeah, retrograde. But Edwards is also a good place to launch polar orbits from, isn't it?
sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of. Uh,
Vandenberg's a little better because you're not flying over people.
okay, yeah, and that's still out in the same general area.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. They got a bigger privacy fence. Um, orbital mechanics are weird. You'd think you'd be able to lift off from anywhere and go east to west, west to east, north to south, south to north, but because of the way the Earth rotates and because of the places that we choose to launch rockets from, because that's what we've got,
Hey, Derek.
different areas are better suited for different orbital inclinations.
Yeah. Uh, Another reason that it's hard for the United States to secretly launch a rocket is the FAA posts all closings of airspace
Hmm.
online.
Back in a moment.
Yeah, Derek's being a little crazy. Uh, he's being a comedian.
He's been reading Terry Pratchett again, I can tell. It's turtles all the way down, kid. Oh.
I don't think Rich has ever seen the first launch of Starship, has he? And landing.
I'm not sure.
I don't believe so.
Let me find it for you real quick.
Now,
I gotta change the brand to get to it. Video. Yeah. Here we go. Are you ready for this, Rich? This is the landing. This is the landing of SpaceX's Starship the first time.
Ah, whoa, what's happening? Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose in life? What do I mean by who am I? Okay, calm down, get a grip now. Ooh, this is an interesting sensation. What is it? It's a sort of a tingling in my... Well, I suppose I better start finding names for things. Let's call it, tail. Yeah, tail. And hey, what's this roaring sound? Whooshing past what I'm suddenly going to call my head. Wind. Is that a good name? It'll do. Yay, this is really exciting. I'm dizzy with anticipation. Or is it the wind? There's an awful lot of that now, isn't there? And what's this thing coming towards me very fast? So big and flat and round, it needs a big, wide-sounding name like ow, ound, round, ground. That's it, ground. I wonder if it'll be friends with me. Hello, ground.
Yeah, you played that a couple weeks ago. I remember that now.
Yeah. I actually had to send a copy of that to Zach. Whoever did that was brilliant.
and it was almost a perfect quote all the way through.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been a perfect quote. Now that I think of it, there were several different versions that were done.
That was from the movie.
Oh, okay. Okay. The radio show was one version. The vinyl album was another version.
The BBC
the movie
TV series.
Yep, that's a third version. And then the
thing they tried to call a movie.
Yeah, it took me like 17 tries to get past the dolphins. And that was the first scene. I went to sleep every damn time. Didn't matter where I tried to watch it. In the middle of the day, during coffee in the morning, or late at night. By the time the dolphins quit turning somersaults, I was asleep. It was that damn boring. And now that I know I have watched it all the way through the movie,
you don't feel the need to do it again?
Not only that, but I realize the BBC TV version is probably the best video version of it that humankind can hope to have.
Now, they had the original Marvin, was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
The suicidal robot or whatever?
Yep. Marvin, the paranoid android.
Yeah. The original Marvin, in that scene where all the robots were, in the movie, the original Marvin was in that crowd of robots.
I was probably very sleepy at that time. Yep.
Which didn't they do another version of it for the BBC with Chris Berry as Arthur?
Don't know.
I think it's Chris Berry.
I know
Chris Berry was Lister, right? No, Rimmer. Sorry,
Rimmer. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because I could have swore I remember seeing him in a bathrobe at one point in time, and something about not being able to get the hang of Thursdays.
The weirdest experience I had after I'd seen Red Dwarf was watching Tomb Raider and realizing
yes.
Rimmer was the butler. And actually a much better character, and not much better, a much more fun character.
Yeah, and first time seeing Tomb Raider, I'm watching. I'm like, why the hell does he? Oh, crap! So yeah, that was funny, and a much more competent character.
Yes, yes, and it's nice. It's nice to see that. That's that's the same reason I prefer watching Blackadder, series 2, 3, and 4, rather than Mr. Bean, because Rowan Atkinson is playing somebody who is actually intelligent in the second, third, and fourth series of Blackadder. In the first series, not so much, but in Mr. Bean, it's rather painful that the character is so stupid.
Now, the thing is, thinking about Chris Berry and Tomb Raider, I would love to see him do a turn as Alfred.
Oh, he proved he could do it.
I think him as, you know, even if it's you know, an Elseworlds or something like that, I would love to see with him as a turn as Alfred, even if it's just voicing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, honest to be, there's so many great Elseworld stories out there for all the characters that I really would love to see DC do some more Elseworld stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to see. I have seen some very excellent crossovers between DC and Marvel for an Elseworld type story. Some of them are really good, and people's egos didn't seem to be bruised by going, "Hey, here's this character. Let's see what the other guys can do with it." Um, have you ever run across the comic book adaptations of some Larry Niven stories? Because I've got a few of those on the hard drive here. They are
No,
the artwork is absolutely beautiful. The stories are very, very true to Larry's writing. They didn't change very much to convert it from text to a visual medium, and there were very few things that were, well, shall we say, if somebody wanted to either animate it or film it live, it would have been difficult to do because of the choice of stories. But there are a few things out there that were just absolutely fantastic and deserving of a really good treatment, either live or anime. Oh, talked to Larry earlier today, actually. Sorry to name drop. It's first Saturday of the month, Niven Chat. The fan group from the mailing list gets together on MIRC. Well, no, I'm on MIRC, but it's a chat. It's a text chat every month, first Saturday of the month, and we talk about anything and everything. And if we're lucky, Larry's home and has time to indulge talking to us. And there were some questions about what's going on with the Ringworld movie, and Larry says, "I don't have the faintest idea. My lawyer sold the rights. Somebody's got it in development. Will it ever happen? I don't know." Uh, Almost everything Larry has written has just been licensed for all media. So you could get a known space TV series sometime soon. And if you don't know Larry's work, you've been cheating yourself because he's an excellent writer.
Oh, cool.
But what the fans are worried about is what's Hollyweird going to do with it. They have their own agenda.
As always, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily the same agenda as the readers would wish. So,
Well, let's face it. Unfortunately, the reader audience is usually a much smaller audience than they are going to be able to reach by doing it their way. It's okay. Well, we've got 16 million people worldwide that read this series right here. Whatever. If we do this, that, and the next thing, we can turn that into 32,000, or not 30,000, 32 million, folks worldwide easily by making these changes. And part of it is also okay. So this was written in the 80s. We need to go ahead and punch it up a little bit because people aren't going to understand this reference right here. So, and then also the judging of past writers and past generations. I will learn how to speak here eventually. It's not like I do it for a living. But it's putting our social mores on older media, older times, and then canceling things before they even have a chance to come out because Lovecraft was a racist.
this is true. This is true. And believe me, this has been well covered in the chat group.
Yeah.
We recognize the difficulty of adapting something written in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s to 2022, where Hollywood thinks that everybody should be David Bowie. Basically, bisexual and interracial relationship. And that's what they've been shooting for since the 60s in Hollywood. But the rest of the world has not caught up yet. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. But
it is a major culture clash, yeah.
If diversity ruins the story, you're not going to get as much money as you think. If diversity enhances the story, I'm all for it.
If diversity doesn't change or betters the story, all the more to it. If diversity is kicking the knees out from under it because they're holding out for that Asian Pacific main actor to pull off this role, and they're just getting too choosy and they're not picking the right one, then it gets. And the thing is, a lot of times it doesn't matter what race many of the characters are, because how many characters in so much of lore of a lot of our favorite properties does it really not mention skin color? It'll mention eye shape, it'll mention hair color, it might mention build, but it's like Conan. Jason Momoa was a perfect substitute in for Arnold Schwarzenegger when they updated it physicality wise, because it doesn't really change the story.
That's the nice thing about Larry. He's going, look, it's 24th, 25th century. There's been enough time to where the only indication you have of somebody's race is an outmoded form of their name, and they don't necessarily look like what their name suggests. It's just, and a lot of times with a lot of different writers, the characters aren't really described that much. Their personalities are, but their appearance is not.
Well, because we like to give the readers as much agency in the story as we can. And if you get so nitpicky of he is 1.37 meters tall, he weighs exactly, I'm going to go pounds because I'll screw it up if I say kilos because I don't remember the exact conversion rate. He's exactly 175 pounds, and
multiply by
about 80 kilos.
Yeah, it's 2.2.
Yep.
But it's a long day. Richie can't math right now. But just getting that nitpicky in. It's you cement in what you think that character. And granted, as the writer, you've got more say than anyone else what that character is going to be. But I feel the stories that have done that aren't as easy for me to fall into, and that's what I want. Is when I'm writing my fiction, I want people to fall into my story and forget they're reading something or they're listening to something, and that they're actually there and side by side on the battlefield as XYZ is happening, kind of a deal. Because I always got that much more out of the novel when I was able to do that.
For me, it would be, if the reader can just decide for themselves what people look like in the story, as long as the characters act the way that they were written, it doesn't matter whether they're Inuit or Peruvian or Russian or whatever. Or just name your own ethnic group. It doesn't matter. As long as the actual personality of the characters is what's important.
The character of the character.
Yeah, what they look like is trivial.
It's window dressing.
Mm-hmm.
Now
it's no more important as to whether or not the curtains were blue or if they were green.
It matters in some stories.
Yes, it does. Some stories things hinge on that, but
there, I want to say it was the early 2010s. I don't remember a whole heck of a lot about this story, except it was mentioned for a couple episodes on a podcast I was listening to, where it was a retelling of the Arthurian legend in urban neighborhood in America. So in that case, it mattered that your, main character and a couple right-hand men were black and a couple were Latinx and whatever, and so on and so forth, because that's where it's set.
Where the action happens.
Building forth from, and stuff like that. I totally get behind that stuff because it's giving agency and it's reminding folks that not everything has to be me, middle-aged white guy,
Yeah, really. I mean, what was it? West Side Story is basically Romeo and Juliet in New York.
Yep.
Right? Works. It worked really well.
The original Officer Kepke number. No, I'm kidding. But it's exactly that. It's you got your two gangs instead of your two families, but it's basically still Capulets and Montagues, even those Jets and Sharks. And damn it, when you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. Okay, good. I got that out of my system.
Yes, and And actually, Alice Cooper used that as some lyrics in a song, which a lot of people who listened to Alice Cooper in the day did not realize.
Guys, I'm gonna have to say goodnight. I can't hold my head up no more.
Better, Joe
Okay.
Dog.
Yeah, I mean, I've been up since 5:30 yesterday morning.
Well,
No wonder you screwed up the times for tonight's show. Go get some sleep, Joe. You're working yourself too hard.
Yep, I am. But I got more work to do.
Not until you get some sleep. Damn it, take care of yourself. We need you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm taking care of myself.
Not
They got
very
me
good
on.
care.
They got me on a new medication. Usually I'm asleep an hour. Been asleep an hour ago. So I'm fighting the thing. Yeah, Derek. Yeah, you have been. You've been burning it at both ends and a couple of spots through the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
All
so
right. We got it, Joe. Rest easy.
all right, and yeah, Derek, I do need to talk to you within the next week. I need some information from you, but not tonight. We'll do it later. All right, I'm going to bed. Good night, guys.
Good
Just
night.
don't get me banned from Facebook for a week. For at least
Okay. Well,
well 26 more days. Please don't get me banned from Facebook for 26 more days.
John's
99.
already.
And
All right,
then
John's
I'm
already
we're going to get rid of the
planning
spiders.
yeah I'm gonna get myself banned so I don't have to do this stuff for a while after
Yeah.
HallowCon.
After, yes.
Yeah. All right. Good night, guys. Thanks for taking over. Thanks for getting the show started for me as I was running late. Chris, after 26 days, I'm not going to be near Facebook, so it ain't going to matter no matter what. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Good night.
Have a great one. Be safe.
I want to leave. Yes, I want to leave. Quit asking me this shit.
It don't make it easy to leave the room while the show's going on. I swear.
I'll be back in a moment. I have to go let the dogs back in.
Who let the dogs out?
I did. Woof, woof, woof,
Arf,
woof.
arf, arf. Go let the dogs in. You
I'll go
can
let the dogs.
formulate the joke later. Some people have a very poor sense of timing. Oh, now you see why I love this bunch of folks so much. They are infinitely entertaining. as well as-
I've enjoyed this group and everything since I first experienced y'all. Now I get to play.
Yes. You can build your own sandcastles and everything. Yeah, I've got to say, through not only this, but our friends who do other shows that aren't on this particular network, it's been an awesome experience getting to know a great variety of people and being able to interact with them regularly, and so many different interests. I mean, Bill, his main focus is comics and toys and things.
Thank you, Chris.
Joe Dog has his focus on HallowCon most of the time, but practical jokes the rest of the time. John is just, what is he going to say next? You know, And then we got Stephanie and Michaela and Keisha, and everybody's got their own focus, but none of it's in a bad direction. Brian K. Morris, um, Ted Davies, everybody's got their own focus, but none of it is in a bad direction. It's just something that's able to expand your awareness of what things are out there to become interested in if you didn't know about them before, and what details of things that you've become interested in are out there that you didn't know about, and these folks are telling you. Um, it's it's uh it's been really neat. It has been really neat, and we owe it all to a plague keeping us from actually meeting up in person. So you know, it's an it's an ill wind that blows nobody good. Uh, I think that should be rephrased a bit because it sounds like something you would probably say in the green room with a couple of hundred extra words, but Lord. Chris, is the internet there just as crappy for video as it seems? I know they're going to have it running much better by the time the convention starts, but at right now, the extenders aren't working or are not part of the regular hotel stuff. It'd be great to have you in here live, but you're there, and if your picture keeps freezing and whatnot, we understand why not. So keep commenting. What are you up to, John?
My dogs are going nuts for some reason.
Because they're yours?
No. I think they're just making a lot of noise because they're mad at me.
Oh. No, the dog that we are pet sitting at the moment, his human parents came by today. Her human parents came by today to visit, and they wore her out playing, um, throwing the ball, throwing. She learned how to catch a frisbee. Well, not catch it in midair, but pick it up off the ground. Took her a few tries when it landed with the bottom down without the easily grasped raised edge upside down, pointing up. But she learned how to flip the darn thing over. It only took like 5 tries, and she had that down pat. I can't wait. I've challenged her owners to teach her how to catch one in midair, just like a lot of folks that I went to college with had taught their dogs to catch a frisbee in midair, even if they had to leap 8 feet in the air to get the damn thing. And I did not know dogs could jump that high. I mean, well, she's a big dog, so she can. She got long legs. But
yeah, the only thing my dogs will catch out of the air is food.
Yes, well,
if it's not food, they're like, we'll wait till it lands, and then we'll look at it for you.
Smear that thing with peanut butter, and they'll be leaping 8 feet off the ground. What animal can jump as high as a tree? I think that's a loaded
Most any animals, because trees can't jump.
There you go, bringing common sense into this.
You've never been through a tornado before, have you?
Exactly. Yeah, nailed it. Dad joke. Yep. I'm just glad the last tornado just tore the tops out of some trees instead of turned the neighbors' cows into astronauts. Believe me, with the amount of damage that was done, thing could have picked up a cow and tossed it into the next state.
Hamburger while still inside the leather bag.
Uh-huh. Actually, they're okay, let me do this. Actually, there are some local teams in this area called Tornadoes, as well as other natural disasters. But I figure they're just trying to break away from the what is normal for this area. Um, Native American stereotypes and Civil War stereotypes and animal stereotypes. I mean, if it ain't badgers or raiders or uh, braves, they don't know what to do with themselves. So, but you got to remember, a lot of this stuff was established in the 30s and 40s and carried on without understanding by other people that came later until somebody goes, hey, maybe we should
Maybe that's a
change
little
that
insensitive.
just a little bit. I mean, we're trying to be good people here, and good people don't use that word anymore. Touchdown tornado. Oh. We got 13 minutes, folks. Let's just make it through. Try not to get Joe Dog banned. It'd be easier if we were trying to get him banned. That's easy.
Yeah, so no discussions of arachnids and the best way to get them out of the house.
Mm-hmm. Or candy-coated grandparent figures. Or no, I'm not going to go there. It's not the green room. Shut up, Dan.
Oh.
Never going to get the smell out of the fish.
Sorry, for alliteration, I was just thinking dextrose. No, not going to finish that remark. But
we are slightly dangerous. Now there comes a point when we will know each other so well that just 3 words and a raised eyebrow will get us to roll on the floor. Because we will have already heard most of our repertoire, and you only need just a hint of what the punchline is.
well, there's a lot of times that you and I are thinking the same thing, just with a different amount of twang in our voice.
Exactly. And that should be enough to frighten the entire civilized world. Yes, imagine me and Rich as a Pfefford and Grey Mouser team. I bet nobody's ever thought of that before, but now they won't be able to get it out of their mind with 55-gallon drums of brain bleach.
Well, at least for those that actually get the reference.
Well, I am elderly. From a certain point of view.
Not everybody's into there is fantasy writings either. So,
Classic literature. Good grief.
well, it's still a fantasy bent on
Yeah.
that.
Not everybody was 5 years old when they first found a copy of. Oh Lord, what was that thing? Milton. Paradise Lost on your family's bookshelf, and you'd already read all the books they bought you, so now you're going to read some of theirs. It wasn't Funkin' Wagnalls. I can understand. Paradise Lost is an amazing story. Paradise Regained is also pretty good, but Milton was not the best storyteller in the world. I've heard it said that his narrative is kind of stilted and boring, and evidently Mrs. Milton found him so as well. But we shall refrain from casting aspersions. That was an eye opener as a 5-year-old to read something that was kind of biblical, but not in the Bible. So I had to look at it as if it were mythology, sort of like some of the stuff from the Compton's Child's Treasure Trove of, well, hell, there were 12 volumes of it. Some of it was myths and legends, and some of it was tall tales, and some of it covered the entire gamut. I mean, seriously, it's stuff that goes from Baba Yaga's hut to Paul Bunyan and Pecos Bill and beyond. Anyway, yeah, I've realized it was stuff that is way beyond my childhood comprehension. But I didn't have anything else to read. I won't say it warped me, but dilithium crystals aren't everything. Somebody else talk. I'm not making any damn sense.
Yeah, I was probably 5 or 6 when I first picked up Dumas and started reading The Musketeers.
Uh-huh.
My sisters and I, back in the day, banana splits. Na 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 na. One of our favorite.
I wanted that tune buggy.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of our favorite bits was the Three Musketeers. So we would sit there and, to a 3-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 12-year-old, the hot dog skewers were perfect rapiers. So I can't count the number of times I've been stabbed and actually drawn blood through my sister's not understanding how to pull a punch yet because we were kids.
Okay. Yep.
Speaking of banana splits, that's always giving me banana splits vibe right there.
I keep thinking of Laugh-In, actually. Whenever it gets played, I something about Rowan Martin, Goldie Hawn, Ruth Buzzy, and a lot of other folks. Believe me, that show was packed with really nice comedians. Artie Shaw.
Johnson.
Artie Johnson. Artie Shaw was a clarinet player in the 40s.
Sock it to me.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But not
stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. If somebody were selling DVDs of the complete series, they'd probably make a mint temporarily. I mean, there are still a lot of people in the age group that would have understood and enjoyed that, and probably would understand even more of it better now. I got to admit, I was still a school child when I saw that, and I bet I missed about 40% of the adult content of the jokes.
$76.85 for the entire series from Amazon with $3.99 delivery fee.
All right. I may have to invest in that, actually. It's been a long time.
The seasons run around $30, between 20 and $30 a pop. And many of the seasons are available on Prime if you have Prime.
Sadly, I have never indulged in Amazon Prime. But neither here nor there. If I could pick up the whole damn thing as a box set, I might just do so sooner or later. After I buy a new water heater and fix the floor. The joys of home ownership. All right, we've got 4 minutes. John,
someone needs to put up Chris's last remark.
Well, they do it so well. Especially Artie Johnson on the tricycle.
I like it where he's the old pervert hitting on Ruth Buzzy's old lady character.
Exactly.
Smacks him with that purse. Yeah, that's Donna and Joe.
That is Donna and Joe to a T. Seriously, and they enjoy that. They really do. They actually, there has been Donna as grandma and Joe as Sylvester at cons, and people go, we don't even want to know who you are. This is perfect.
Well, for those of you who wanted to pre-register for HallowCon, it's too damn late. You missed it. What you get for slacking.
Yep, you got 2 minutes. No, what? You don't. No, you don't. You're
like 50.
You're 58 minutes too late.
Speaking of slackers who missed out. Anyway,
don't tell me you haven't got your badge yet. You're security.
I had my badge before the con was over, sort of. So,
well, yeah.
Anyway,
you're part of the crew.
How I got wrangled into that, I'll never know. But like
just lucky, I guess.
I'd like to thank everybody for being on the show tonight. The wonderful Joe Dog McKill, who needs to get some damn sleep, because I know he's watching the show right now.
Yeah,
you know he didn't go to bed.
Of course not. He's going to wait till 4 a.m. to find out that I didn't go to sleep and ended Last Man Standing on time.
And then I'd like to thank Dan, of course, for doing his little bits here. And if y'all enjoyed some of this stuff, Dan has his show right after this one. And I'd like to thank Rich for being on here, because
thanks for having me.
Well, that just, we need somebody. Might as well be the guy. Might as well be the guy with the beard.
We hardly ever say it, but click the like, click the subscribe, share. It's not like we're looking for viewers or looking to get monetized. We do this because we want to do it. It's fun. But, Joe might need an extra $1 every once in a while. So,
and it helps more people find this fun, too.
Yes, yes. And
Hey, when the zombie apocalypse hit, and this is your only form of entertainment, don't say we didn't warn you. It's like, what was that? The Stephen King's story, The Stand, where the DJ was reporting on all the things the military was doing with the contagion and the viral outbreak, stuff like that. And the military kicked in the door of the studio, came in and shot her and took her off the air because she wasn't towing the party line.
History would state that happens
Far
sometimes. Well, far too often. Yeah, that's another way of putting it. But it's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I gotta find that. I don't have that button ready, but I will find a button. Which button should I hit?
Any button. Any button in a storm.
Oh, all right. Where's the... Oh, updated.
It's under brand.
Yeah. I see. Outro. Is that the new outro or the... he's got to get these things organized, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand, and touched the face of God.